Hi, I'm Will Oechsler, and I teach Audience Insight at West Virginia University. And I have a pretty diverse background. Right now, I'm working in a global ministry. So I'm working in the nonprofit sector. But I also have a lot of corporate background as well. I was a chief marketing officer for a company for quite a few years. I also have been the head of marketing for a publishing house, and I ran a film company that did a lot of work for as a nonprofit. And I have a very extensive retail background. But probably the most of my experience comes out of working in advertising, marketing, and branding. So about 5 years with Leo Burnett in Chicago, and then helped start a small advertising agency in West Michigan that I was a part of for about 10 years. So it's a nice diverse background. You got publishing, you got film, you've got marketing, you've got media, retail. So all this, and I'm only 25 years old. So I've done quite a bit in a short amount of time. Well, I was thinking about when I actually first got involved with the IMC program, and it goes back about 15 years. I've been doing a lot of guest lecturing. A lot of my contemporaries, a lot of my friends, a lot of coworkers that I had over the years had me come in and speak to their classes. And Susan K. Jones was at a university in Michigan, and she asked me to come in and lecture or talk about marketing, communication, and branding. And afterwards, she said, I've been teaching at West Virginia University in their IMC program, a graduate level course. And I know you love teaching, but have you ever thought about doing distance learning? Have you ever thought of doing online classes? And I said, I have always wanted to teach. But because of my schedule and my extensive travel, a lot of it internationally, I could never be place-based. And so when I looked into the IMC program, I said, hey, this is perfect. It's in the area of marketing, communication, branding that I know and I love and I'm passionate about. And it works with my schedule. I could be anywhere. I could teach a class while I'm in India. I could be in Korea. I could be in Europe. I can work from Michigan or Colorado or wherever I was living at the time, and then work with students that are like me all around the world. So it was just something that kind of hooked me just on the premise of it. And then I don't think at the time, 15 years ago, there was a lot of IMC courses or programs out there. And I looked at the caliber of the program, caliber of the administrators, the caliber of the instructors. And I said, boy, I'd love to be a small part of that. And so I inquired, I applied, I did my interviews and ultimately was brought on. And over the course of the last 15 years, I've been able to teach audience insight, creative strategy and execution, market research and analysis, and digital storytelling. So it's been diverse for me. I've had a diverse group of students that I've been able to work with, and peers that are, beyond peers. So it really hit all those buttons, and I hope to be doing it for years to come. I think one of the most critical parts of this program is that you have folks in the real world doing the teaching, and then the students themselves are in the real world. So you can't help but bring your experiences from the real world into the classroom. So a lot of times, without trying to sound like somebody that always is living in the glory days, the back when I was doing this, you can bring in examples of real problems or opportunities that an organization was addressing through integrated marketing communications. What was the situation? What were the goals? Who were the audiences? What were the programs, the strategies, the tactics, and so forth that were put in place? And what were the outcomes? How did you measure success? So I believe that during any time that I'm teaching a course, I must bring in 20 or 30 examples, usually the springboard is what the students are talking about. Obviously, we have the text. Obviously, we have all the ancillary materials that we reference, and they're great stories there and adages and examples and so forth. But what I try to do is make a connection between something that I'm seeing today or something that I've experienced in the past, and connect with the student and say, yeah, what you're seeing or what you're being challenged with is something I've seen, and here's how we approached it. So what the student gets at the end of the day, I think, is not something theoretical, but very, very practical. This is the way businesses work. These are the way brands are built. These are the challenges of communicating to a particular audience segment at a certain time with a certain message for a desired end. And I'll bring those to bear as they make sense. Here's what we did in ethnographic research, or here's what we did in audience segmentation, or here's when we put together a SWOT analysis, whatever it is, whatever the tool, whatever the technique, whatever the method, whatever the means, we try to make them as applicable to the situation at hand. One of the things that I love is when I'll get a note, and I get them not as regularly as I'd like, but when I get them, whether it's a Facebook message or somebody DMs me or somebody texts me, a student that I might have, and they said, I really appreciated, working together on that project, or how you spoke into something that I was struggling with, and you get that kind of feedback. And you know what they're doing right now? They're teaching. And what are they teaching? They're teaching in the discipline that I was teaching, 5, 10, 15 years ago. And boy, that just warms your heart that they so much love the program. They so much loved the practices that we were talking about, that's now become their vocation, and they're teaching others about them, about those principles, about those practices. And it's just it's such a perpetual cycle. We learn, we teach, and then others learn and do and teach from us. And boy, there's just nothing better than that. I had it just the other day I sent a little congratulatory note to one of my former students, and he happens to be probably in his 10th year of teaching at the university level in the disciplines, and I think he's written 1 or 2 books. And I'm like, boy, I'm just so proud of you, and what you've done with your career. And it all came out, a lot of it came out of personal self-discipline and hard work and all that, but there was a program there that that met the needs, that met the desires at the time, and boy, now they're being successful with it themselves. Motivation is an interesting concept. I've heard people say that nothing motivates like results. And a couple times I'm going to say, from a career standpoint, when you think that, when others think that something can't be done, but you do, and that's enough. And I recall a launch a few years ago with a team of a new product that was fairly innovative. And I thought that the success that it had should probably be submitted to the Effies for performance, actual in-market business performance. And I went to the team and I said, sales said we should sell 30,000 of these units in the first year, and we sold 330,000 units. And I think the way that we did it, I think we had 97% coverage in all major newspapers. We had bidirectional outdoor advertising in Times Square. We were on television. We were in print. And this was for a publishing house that really didn't do that type of marketing communications. And we actually won in the category of new products an Effie Award for in-market performance. And the I was motivated because when I said we should apply for an Effie, we should submit this for an Effie, nobody on the team knew what an Effie was. And, nobody gives out more awards than probably the advertising industry, except for maybe the trophy manufacturers of America. But the Effie, when you're in research and strategic planning, is not really a creative award. Of course, creative plays a role in that. But the idea that it's on the in-market performance, how well did you move the needle? And I transitioned out of that role before that award was won. And the team got together and took me to lunch. And at the end of the lunch, they said, we never thought that we could do this, but you did. And I said, yep, and that was enough. And then they reached underneath the table and they gave me the Effie Award. And it's really not about the award, but it was about rallying a team around an idea that they couldn't see, but belief that we had something, and it was like lightning in a bottle. And if we just did our job, we could actually achieve results that were exponentially higher than anyone even could imagine. And so that was really motivating. That's one of those things you just kind of put in the bank, and you said, hey, I had a small part of that. And, a team was transformed because they realized what was possible. That's motivating.